Hello guys, so welcome back to my channel. And yeah, with this series of videos where I make on mostly self-improvement, self-help, and also things I learned from reading books and through my career, etc. And I thought I would make a video on something which is really important, but at the same time is really underrated, and it's one of the simplest things to do to actually get you to the next level, but it's a really challenging thing to do it on a daily basis. And it has multitude of benefits, and I cannot stress more on the importance of this on a daily basis as well as in long term, 10, 20, 30, 50 years down the line. And let's just jump onto the video and see what I'm talking about. Is nothing other than sleep. Sorry for this little shocking and surprising, but yeah, the whole video I'm talking about how sleep can make our lives better. Why is it important? What are all the things it's going to have an impact on? And yeah, the idea is not exactly going into how to actually make a good quality sleep as your routine. Maybe we can keep it to another video, but the idea is to at least get a sound 8 hours of sleep, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And to be really precise, I would say 7.5, because to keep it short on the why 7.5, because our sleep cycles come in a 90-minute cycle called the REM cycle. So it should be preferably in the splits of 90. So when it's 7.5 hours, you wake up at the end of the REM cycle, right? One cycle is 90 minutes. And if you have it's actually 6 cycles, right? So you'll have 9 hours of sleep. If it's 5 hours of the sleep cycle I'm talking about, you'll have 7.5. So I wouldn't also imagine that we might not have the luxury, especially when you are in mid-20s, mid-30s. So the ideal time, or at least I would say the minimum time, is 7.5 hours to 8. And if you do it for a few weeks itself, you will be able to see the change. Right? People feel or wish, even when they sleep less hours, like 4 hours, 5 hours, and still act normal, they are kind of faking their brain to believe that way, and then it might have a long-term consequence, and it might also have a lot of impacts on day-to-day life which cannot be measured or seen directly. So that's the whole video about. And then I can try to also be not too long, but at the same time I want to just stress on this beautiful and most important part of our life, the sleep. Right. So starting with, it's very, very clear, right? We have a lot of activities we do throughout the day, right? Depending on the type of work, depending on physical activity, we like playing sports, we like meeting our friends, parties, dinners, etc. Every part of our body, including our eyes, brain, our muscles, needs rest. And sleep is one of the best, again, simplest forms of rest you can easily get, right? There are other forms of rest, for example, meditation, massage, or having an amazing diet to help your body recover, body, brain, mind, etc. But sleep is something which does not take in a lot of efforts to do it, but challenging to be consistently good at it, right? Getting 8 hours of sleep on a daily basis for years, it takes a lot of efforts. And building this habit and routine, where if you go to one of my previous videos, I've talked about how to build a routine, how to build a habit, and it's one of the important habits and routines. So first, period, not a lot of explanation needed. It's an amazing rest for especially your brain, especially if you're working on a lot of uh, cognitively intense tasks. It's best if you're working on a lot of physical efforts, like if you're a sports person. Again, sleep is the best. If you work out, you want to develop muscle, and if you have a goal of building muscle mass, every gym trainer knows rest is one of the best forms, and it comes from sleep, right? Next is, it makes the entire day better, right? And I'm not sure how many of us here experienced this. So when you have less sleep, sometimes you wake up a little bit in a cranky way, and then you see a lot of things might go a little off than planned. Like, few things might be, a little bit stressful. Then you plan things the last moment, you be late to a meeting. So it has a lot of chain reactions if you especially get less sleep than you're supposed to. And your focus is a little bit lacking. You might have a little bit of memory issues, and especially if you keep doing this on the long run, right? So everything has, if you reverse engineer, this might be one of the root causes. I'm not saying this is the only cause, but this might be an important cause. And you would, trust me, see the difference if you start getting more sleep, like 7-8 hours of sleep on a daily basis. You might get more organized, you'll remember things better. You would actually wake up on a better, side of the bed, and the entire day could actually have an impact. So that's a very important perks, right? Make your entire day better. And second of all, your moods and stress, like especially when you wake up with, smiling face and bright mind, you can have the entire day ahead with better mood. And then it might definitely help you reduce the stress and anxiety. Deadlines, meetings, everything could be more structured. Your thought process is better. Again, so you're more prepared, you're more rested. Again, your mind is going to function better. So it's a direct correlation between mood and stress. Again, not the only factor, but one of the important factors, right? Then, long-term effects, right? Especially, I've talked a lot about delayed gratification, and always think about when doing something, go for the why, right? I've made a couple of videos on stressing yourself in every activity you do, especially about the why. And why I'm asking you, or in support of having more sleep, is the long-term effects it has. And especially when it comes to your health, when it comes to your mental clarity, when it comes to your focus and efficiency. So it's going to keep kind of, having this compounding effect. And then when you give more rest, you can function a lot more better. And then this kind of compounds in the long term, and you would keep seeing this impact. And the idea is, imagine if you are someone who gets less sleep, right? 4 hours, 5 hours, definitely not recommended. To start seeing sleeping for 7-8 hours. Next day, you might not immediately see, but I would definitely say when you wake up, you would probably be in a better mood. You're well rested. You can make better decisions, of course, when you relatively sleeping for lesser time, of course. But the idea is 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, your entire metabolism shifts, right? Your brain is more healthy. You're on a whole performing better, and that compounds very well. So that's something which we should always keep in mind for a lot of things, right? Especially when it's something uncomfortable, when it's going to change you, it's actually going to happen in the long run. And this is something which is not uncomfortable. I mean, people like to sleep, right? But the idea is sometimes they prioritize other things over sleep, and that's what makes it a little more challenging. So I'm always pro towards, prioritizing your health, your mental and physical health more than anything else, of course. But sometimes it's hard to maintain that balance. So trust me, again, it has a tremendous long-term benefits and effects. And one thing we also don't realize is it has a direct impact on our hormones and the regulation and the synthesis. And especially apart from sleeping 8 hours, it's really important when exactly you sleep, right? So preferably when it's pitch dark. Of course, curtains are useful for better, bringing less light into your room when you sleep. The idea is to also have this 7 to 8 hours of sleep in the right time, of course, nighttime. So people going night shift, even though if you're getting sleep in the morning 8 hours, it might change a little bit of your circadian rhythm, your hormone synthesis, a few of the hormones like melanin and a lot of other things secrete only when there's a sunset, right? So the idea is to sleep when the sun is down and wake up when the sun is up, right? Period. So, and this sleep time and the amount of time, sorry, not only amount of time, but also the period in which sleep is definitely having a direct correlation of a better hormone regulation and synthesis, right? So in the old age, especially when you have a deficiency of certain things, it might definitely backtrace to the sleep. And that's the reason I say it's a long-term effect, right? So instead of seeing the problems because of the less sleep in the future, the idea is to avoid that already. So irrespective of whatever age group you are, start sleeping more, start getting the 8 hours of sleep. One of the easiest way to get healthier and better and improving the quality of life, right? And I'm not going to go into detail about different hormones, but most of the hormones, important hormones, definitely something responsible for our health, at the same time also our metabolic functions. So again, very important factor. Finally, as I mentioned, of course, when it is related to health, it's also something related to longevity, where people who sleep 7 to 8 hours also live longer. May not be a lot, but maybe 5-10 years more. Again, I'm not having a lot of research basis on this, but I've listened to podcasts, and this amazing sleep scientist called Walker. Please research or Google him. He's a scientist who just is experienced 10, 20 years, I'm not sure, pretty long on just sleep. Why it is important, how does it affect everything we do, and then it has a definite correlation with longevity. And he also talks about beautiful things. And one of the important things, just to keep the video short, I'm not going into detail about different talks, but he talks about the daylight savings, the 1 hour, when there's a difference. When people start sleeping longer, and if there's a study, especially people, sleep cycle changes, especially when there is a daylight shifts, and then he directly correlates. Again, more sleep, better years, longer lifespan, more health, elevation, etc., etc., etc. So even 1 hour of sleep is going to have a huge impact on our health and our longevity. The amount we're going to live as well by a significant factor. And so if you just shift your sleep cycle from 5 to 6, that itself is a huge impact. 6 to 7, again, 7 to 8. It's going to have a lot of effect. Of course, not here. I'm not talking about sleeping for 10, 12 hours, of course. The ideal time would be around 8 hours, as I already mentioned. So, of course, we need to prioritize the other things, of course, for our financial stability. And then we need something to monetize, right? We can't just sleep and then, leave the rest of the things to what. So we need to also have some passion and then something to monetize to pay for our bills, right? Obviously. So in that way, it's really important. And again, I'm mentioning the scientist Walker. Please have a look at his talks. He has amazing research, and the way he puts things really made me sleep longer for sure. So with that, I think we covered a lot of points just about the benefits of sleep. Why is it important? And it's actually gives us a superpower which we don't realize, and it's really underrated. So with that, I think I close off this video. And again, thanks for watching, and please feel free to leave comments and anything else if you want to share, if you want to see video in similar lines or something else, or a follow-up, please feel free to reach out, comment, like, and subscribe, obviously, if you want to see more of this content. And I wish to see you guys soon, another video where I talk about something more interesting. Have an amazing day, and good luck in getting more sleep.